getting close to an election when the parade of departing MPs and those jostling to move into their places begins in earnest.
Hey boys, good to see you.
Federal Labor MP Joel Fitzgibbon calling time in his long political career.
I can leave confident of the election of a Labor government led by Anthony Albanese.
All right boys, good to see you. Okay.
Joel Fitzgibbon's announcement today that he will not recontest his New South Wales coal seat of Hunter puts it firmly in play after a huge swing against Labor at the 2019 election.
Well, Labor allowed itself to be portrayed by its political opponents as being anti-coal.
And then there is the ugly brawl over who will run as Labor's candidate in the southwest Sydney seat of Fowler, which stemmed from a failure to sort out an internal tussle over the New South Wales Senate ticket and protect the position of frontbencher Christina Keneally. Keneally now looks set to secure pre-selection over a Vietnamese Australian woman who actually lives in the community.
The people of Fowler, the families of Fowler, deserve better.
Labor MPs, while grumbling internally, have been reluctant to criticise the move publicly, but now one of them is.
It's not fair. It's not right. People from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds and people of colour, we are always given the marginal seat.
But there are other forces at play in the lead up to the next federal election beyond the usual pre-selection brawls within the major parties.
Morrison's army off the streets of Sydney.
During the last federal election, Clive Palmer spent $60 million on ads ostensibly designed to get him and his United Australia Party candidates elected into the House of Representatives.
The United Australia Party will fight for you. We've got to put Australia first. Vote United Australia Party.
Bill Shorten wants to tax us an extra $1 trillion.
But the ads were primarily anti-Labor, and Palmer subsequently claimed credit for the coalition's win. The spend was unsuccessful in terms of bottoms on seats in the Parliament, but was recognised as causing huge disruptions in electorates across the country and swallowing up much of the advertising airspace. And, ahead of the next election, Palmer has a new weapon in his arsenal.
And we will be a major force in politics, make no mistake.
Craig Kelly's decision to join Palmer's party after leaving the Liberals and initially sitting as an independent was primarily seen at the time as one which would give him a significant bankroll. But in fact, it gives both him and Palmer a lot more.
Under the Electoral Act, to register a political party, you have to demonstrate that you have a minimum number of members. That has been 500 at the federal level. It's just been increased to 1,500. However, if you have a parliamentarian on your books, then you don't need to demonstrate any minimum number of members, or indeed you don't need to demonstrate you have any members at all.
Kelly and Palmer are demonstrating that once you are a registered political party, you can say more or less anything you want under both truth in advertising laws and freedom of political speech provisions. There is nothing under the electoral laws to stop you. The Electoral Act is limited to whether a publication is likely to mislead or deceive an elector in relation to the casting of a vote. False or misleading advertising under the Trade Practices Act does not apply to political advertising. All that means the bodies that might be expected to police the claims Palmer and Kelly are making are pretty constrained. Take the recent volley of text messages reportedly sent using a random number generator, avoiding breaches of privacy laws. The media and communications regulator ACMA tweeted that messages from political parties were exempt from most spam and telemarketing rules, while the Electoral Commission said election laws don't regulate content. Those text messages linked to a website controlled by the party, purporting to analyse data from the Therapeutic Goods Administration, which regulates medicines, including vaccines.
We are looking into, with advice from the Australian Government solicitor, whether an offence has been committed, because it does have an Australian Government logo.
Today, Craig Kelly said he would welcome such a legal challenge and that his lawyers were ready. But beyond the legal questions, there's a problem of using political speech as a Trojan horse for misinformation about vaccines. The TGA routinely collects information from doctors on patients who get sick or die after having a vaccine, even when, as is almost always the case, there is no causal link. And it's this data that Kelly is misrepresenting.
It is sad that people are using data and misusing data to say, oh no, look, hundreds of people are dying because of this vaccine. It's simply not true. It's extremely rare, less than 1 in a million. We made a commitment at the very beginning of this vaccination campaign that we would share all statistics we get. So if people report something, even if on subsequent investigation it shows to have nothing at all to do with the vaccine, we won't delete that report. That report will be out there, it will stand. The transparency, however, can be used against us.
Whatever the solutions, they'll need to be found soon, as campaigning tools like major text message rollouts, as well as social media, are likely to play an even bigger role in this coming election.
Hey mate, here you go, we'll do a fist bump.
As the pandemic is expected to limit how much physical flesh politicians get to press on the hustings.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.